The international defense industry faces significant upheaval as several countries reconsider their commitments to costly military projects. Notably, the American-made F-35 fighter jet developed by aerospace giant Lockheed Martin. Canada's recent reconsideration of its F-35 contract has brought renewed scrutiny to this flagship program, raising serious geopolitical implications. Initially heralded as the future of aerial combat, the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter is now at risk of being labeled a problematic investment. Canada's hesitation and potential shift away from exclusive reliance on this jet signify a profound challenge to American defense strategies and could disrupt broader global military alliances. Canada's reconsideration follows mounting tensions with the United States, significantly escalated by U.S. President Donald Trump's aggressive economic policies and controversial rhetoric. Trump's repeated threats of economic annexation and demeaning comments directed at Canadian sovereignty severely undermined trust between the neighboring allies. Such diplomatic strain contributed directly to Canada questioning its $19 billion commitment to acquiring 88 F-35 jets from Lockheed Martin, initially finalized in June 2023. Canadian Defense Minister Bill Blair recently stated the government is actively reviewing alternatives to the F-35, despite previously acknowledging its suitability for Canada's Air Force. Blair emphasized exploring the procurement of jets from European manufacturers, notably Sweden's Saab Gripen. The Gripen, runner-up in Canada's original competition, offers additional benefits such as Canadian assembly and transfer of intellectual property, elements that the F-35 program lacks. Canada's move towards a potentially mixed fleet, combining initial deliveries of the F-35 with European aircraft, represents a significant strategic shift. However, military planners have historically opposed operating multiple aircraft types due to logistical complexities and increased costs related to training, maintenance, and infrastructure. Lockheed Martin responded cautiously to Canada's potential pivot, reiterating its commitment to long-standing partnerships. Rebecca Miller, Lockheed's Director of Global Media Relations, dismissed rumors regarding alleged kill switches that could remotely disable jets, affirming the company's policy of providing comprehensive infrastructure and maintenance support. However, if Canada partially withdraws, contractual penalties are expected, although specifics remain undisclosed. The ripple effect of Canada's reassessment is already being felt internationally. Portugal, initially planning to procure F-35 jets, announced similar hesitations, citing concerns over American reliability within NATO frameworks. Portuguese Defense Minister Nuno Melo explicitly highlighted fears that the U.S. might restrict essential operational support, such as software updates and spare parts, rendering Portugal vulnerable. Melo emphasized exploring European alternatives due to geopolitical uncertainties and potential American interference in aircraft availability. Such developments indicate a broader loss of confidence in U.S. defense partnerships, a sentiment underscored by former F-35 test pilot Billy Flynn, who stressed that Trump's provocative statements significantly damaged trust. Flynn advocated viewing defense purchases through a transactional lens, where reliability and trustworthiness remain paramount. Canada's aerospace industry could also suffer economically from scaling back its F-35 involvement, given substantial financial contributions, $1.2 billion between 1997 and 2021, linked directly to the fighter's supply chain. Nevertheless, the political impetus towards strategic autonomy and reduced reliance on the U.S. defense sector appears increasingly influential. Meanwhile, France sees the current geopolitical shifts as a strategic opportunity. French President Emmanuel Macron has aggressively championed European defense autonomy, actively discouraging reliance on U.S. military technology in favor of domestic and European alternatives. Macron urges European nations to adopt products like France's Rafale jet and European missile defense systems, contrasting sharply with U.S.-dominated programs. France's position is deeply rooted in historical precedent and strategic independence. Since the 1980s, France has prioritized its domestic defense industry, famously withdrawing from the Eurofighter Typhoon consortium in 1985 to independently develop the Dassault Rafale fighter. This decision preserved French sovereignty over military capabilities, rejecting integration into programs such as the multinational F-35 project despite significant NATO ally participation. The Rafale jet symbolizes French defense autonomy, contrasting starkly with the multinational supply chain and operational dependency characteristic of the F-35. Rafale's international success, with operational deployments in Egypt, India, Qatar, Greece, Croatia, Indonesia, the UAE, and Serbia, underscores France's capacity to independently develop and sustain advanced defense technology without extensive reliance on foreign cooperation. In contrast, the F-35 remains the centerpiece of American-led defense alliances, with 19 countries committed to various degrees. The multinational nature of the F-35 program, involving significant contributions from partners like the UK, Italy, Netherlands, and formerly Turkey, reflects an integrated global defense strategy heavily influenced by U.S. policies and strategic interests. Recent Canadian and Portuguese hesitations potentially represent early indicators of a broader reassessment of U.S. military dependence. This movement aligns closely with France's long-standing advocacy for European strategic autonomy. Macron's recent statements, encouraging European nations to prioritize domestic defense manufacturing, highlight increasing European sentiment towards self-reliance amid growing uncertainty in U.S. commitments. Adding complexity to the situation, Macron's push for strategic autonomy is not merely a political gesture, but part of a broader economic strategy aimed at revitalizing Europe's aerospace and defense sectors. France sees an opportunity to significantly boost its economy by expanding exports of military equipment and related technology. This effort involves streamlining defense procurement processes, cutting bureaucratic red tape, and reducing production costs to make European defense products more competitive on the global market. Additionally, the geopolitical realignment sparked by Canada's actions highlights the shifting nature of international alliances. Traditional NATO unity appears strained as individual nations reassess their dependence on American technology and military guarantees. This reevaluation could lead to a more fragmented NATO, altering the traditional power dynamics and encouraging bilateral agreements or regional defense pacts independent of U.S. involvement. Ultimately, Canada's evolving stance could represent a turning point not only for North American relations, but also for broader international defense alliances. As geopolitical tensions evolve and global alliances shift, the strategic landscape for military procurement and international defense cooperation could undergo profound transformation, reshaping power dynamics for decades to come.